Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Fight to Win 137 in Denver, Colorado, talk a little bit about Gordon Ryan cleaning up at the Arnolds. We're going to preview Fight to Win 138 in Dallas, Texas, and Third Coast Grappling 4. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
I'm doing great, Maine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to make weight soon, which is not fun.
Maine's a little hungry. So
I realized I was 5 pounds over what I needed to
I'm
be
going to
at.
blame that entirely on the Taco Bell that we had last week.
I'm actually technically 10 pounds over, but I have 4 weeks, so
it's all the Taco Bell.
Yeah, we eat a lot of Taco Bell. So before we get into that, let's get into a little bit of news. Let's start with the biggest news. IBJJF has, not denounced is the right word. What's the word?
So they've removed.
Revoked.
Yeah, revoked.
BJJ Globetrotters Affiliation.
Yeah, exactly. Like official. So the way that IBJJF runs is you have to be a registered organization with them, with a registered black belt in order to be able to sign off for people.
Yes.
In order for them to compete at whatever belt that they're at.
Correct.
And now it goes all the way down to white belt, right? So
it's
like
now every single belt has to have a signatory and a requirement, and you have to be registered with IBJJF. Previously, I think it was a part of 2 years ago, it was only up to purple belts. Then like it's moved down the line.
It used to be only black belt, yeah.
Yeah,
it used to be non-existent.
And they've added more and more now.
Basically,
every belt has to be registered.
Everyone's got to give them money.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
And Globetrotters, I think, had about 700 people like they were under and registered under that affiliation, and everyone's come out of the woodwork to support Globetrotters, and I think that's a bad thing. I'm saying it like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think Grappler's Guide is also say, hey, we have an affiliation as well. You can register under us if you've been affected by this. If you have tournaments coming up like in 2 weeks and you're already registered,
basically
we will help you out with
exactly.
this.
This screwed over a lot of people who had IBJJF tournaments that they had already registered for.
Freddie Roscoe, I found it through Freddie Roscoe because he got a message, an email from the IBJJF that it was his affiliation was gone. He was like, I'm your current like bronze medalist in your Nogi World Championships, right?
So here's what happened was like I followed this a little bit, and IBJJF released or
we've all seen the post.
Yeah, we've seen the post where they basically said, there's like
thanks, Timmy.
There are some there are some questions as to legitimacy of some of the people that are registering under BJJ Globetrotters.
Right.
And BJJ Globetrotters was like, okay, name them. Like,
yeah.
like where. And
we have a pretty strict vetting process for people to verify their belts. It's not just you email us and we sign off on it. Like we follow these people and we like pay attention to this. It's not just some system. And it's kind of brought up like that system, but they have controls in place. And so, so that's happening.
IBJJF has not said anything. So right now, there's no clear, specific reason as to why.
There is. They just basically didn't like belt checker.
Well, yeah.
And then that's the big speculation is that because now Globetrotters has a new system out, BJJ Belt Checker. I think it's beltchecker.com is what it's called. And you can put some information about yourself, about your belts, about your promotions. And then the community that has already been verified by people in the community will basically not vote, but it's kind of called voting. And like, oh yeah, I've trained with this person. They are legitimate at this belt. They're this belt. Like I've seen them like in the community. That's kind of what we do anyway. Right. So legitimizing people in the community through this free system as opposed to the IBJJF system, and potentially there's some talk that is why and what kind of triggered them to renege the association from Globetrotters.
Yeah, I think this is a really important. This is an important moment, because we have to consider how jiu-jitsu moves forward. Fortunately, there are a lot of options now outside of the IBJJF, which makes me wonder, I feel like this is just them shooting themselves in the foot.
It was interesting.
It's just
so,
I don't want
to get too much into the politics of it.
It's not politics. It's just where is the sport going? Is it And I think it's
to have an organization that can now revoke the credentials of almost 1,000 people that compete for them with not a whole lot of notice, not a whole lot of like back and forth information, just like, hey, we revoked everyone under this association because we think some people are not legit.
Right.
It sets a really bad precedent.
Right. And I'm willing to bet they weren't gonna refund any of those.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
So you got to re-register under a new affiliation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of big news happening, and there's forum posts everywhere on Reddit, on every other forum talking about it in more depth, and BJJ Globetrotters, Christian talks about it and talks about the verification process for belt checker. Really interesting week in the community for that. I hope it doesn't affect a lot of people that we cover. There's a couple people that we cover not infrequently that are Globetrotters and under that registration.
Yeah.
I hope that they get re-registered, and I hope that that does not stop them from competing, because I love watching guys compete. It's why we do this show, and I hope that there's even less of a barrier to entry into people that want to get into competitive jiu-jitsu, because I love competitive jiu-jitsu, and that I think that furthers the sport. So that sucks. That's this week. In other news, let's go more fun news. Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan. Gary Tonin got his second degree on a black belt. Gordon Ryan got the first degree on his black belt. You realize Gordon Ryan's only been a black belt for 3 years.
That's so wild.
You're like, dude, what?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those guys.
And they got and Gary Tonin got a knife from Danaher as his tradition. I wonder how many knives he has at this point.
I have no idea.
A Danaher special occasion knife.
Yeah, right.
Is what that is.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Let's see. Oh, in other big news, Third Coast Grappling has canceled all of its upcoming out-of-town matches for its Third Coast Grappling 4 card. As a result, the card is now pretty much just Houston grapplers. It's going to be a Houston showcase. We will talk more about this in the preview section for Third Coast Grappling 4. A lot of those matches have got moved.
We're seeing basically this is the result of coronavirus.
And
they don't want people traveling to expose themselves.
Like you said last week, like tons of stuff has gotten canceled. The Arnold, which we'll talk about here in a second, didn't allow for any. The expo didn't run. It was just the competitors there for all the various bodybuilding events and jiu-jitsu events. There was no expo this year, which is huge. It is one of the biggest fitness expos in the world, I think. I'm kind of talking my ass there, but big stuff's getting canceled. A bunch of tours have gotten canceled. A bunch of events that I follow, they're non-jiu-jitsu related, have gotten canceled.
Yep.
It's everywhere. As of the recording, there are 396 cases in the United States. As of Friday...
It's over 500.
Now it's over 500?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
As of this morning, there were 396. It's over 500 now. As of Friday, it was 247 when I checked in the morning. So it's...
So, I mean...
Wash your fucking hands.
Yeah, I think it can uniquely impact jiu-jitsu because we're in close quarters.
Because you sweat in my eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's something to be aware of. Obviously, if you're feeling symptoms, do not go and train.
Bro.
I can't stress that enough. But
no, there's I think Jit Soap put out a poster and there's a bunch of posters around. It's very simple. If you do not feel good, don't train. It kind of follows for the same thing previously to coronavirus. If you don't feel good, don't go infect everyone.
Yep.
We'll see how it develops. We'll see what other events get canceled and get put on hold or get moved.
Actually, I wonder how this will impact Pans.
I am very concerned as well about how this will impact Pans. I don't know. There's international competitors coming in, a lot of travel. It is a really interesting space for the community right now, and we may do a lot of bonus episodes coming up.
Yeah, probably. I mean, and it's not. This is no small speculation, but because Italy just announced complete shutdown. Originally, it was just the north.
Yeah,
and then they just shut the whole country down, basically.
Yeah, a couple other countries. I think there's Micronesia has also shut down all borders.
Yeah.
It looks like we're playing Plague 2 or Plague Inc. or Pandemic 2. If you ever played those online games, highly recommend them. I spent hundreds of hours probably playing all 3 of those games. This is what it looks like in reality. So
we'll see. We'll continue to monitor how it impacts potential events going into the future, and obviously make announcements. So.
Pretty much. Yeah. In other news, Gordon Ryan wins the Arnold Invitational. And, the absolute division at the Arnold Classic for advanced no-gi. In my notes, it says, Gordon Ryan wins Arnold, no shit, LOL.
Yeah.
And I saw might have been a Reddit post or something. It goes, imagine going into this tournament, trying to compete, and then Gordon Ryan's out there trying to film material for his next DVD.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to style on you.
There's some videos coming around from his matches, and it's like, this looks like one of the best nogi, probably the best current nogi grappler in the world, versus
some guys.
There's just some guys.
Yep.
That are in the advanced division.
Yep.
So, but cool experience to go compete against Gordon Ryan, potentially get your shot. If you wanted to fight him, there was your shot.
There you go.
Guys don't do open tournaments like that very frequently, especially in the grappling industry's format.
Right.
So if you wanted to fight him, that was your chance. I don't think I have any other news. Do you have any other news?
No, that's it.
All right, get on belt checker. So on to a recap of Fight to Win 137. This event took place in Denver, Colorado, and was headlined by Lucas the Hulk Barbosa versus Roberto Jimenez, and these guys ended in Fight of the Night. This Fight to Win also had a 76.2% submission rate and is the highest in Fight to Win history. Also paid at a total of $33,657 in salaries and commissions, with checks that won't bounce.
Yeah, that's right.
I read that out of order for the first time ever because I got so excited about the submission rate.
Well, the submission rate and also the headline match, the main match on the card being Fight of the Night, like it was an amazing match. And how often do we get to see that? You know, like
where the main match is Fight of the Night. It's like it's rare. Yeah, it's more rare than I would like. But dude, this one delivered. This was fire.
So we have Hulk Barbosa defeating Roberto Jimenez by armbar. It was an insane match. I mean,
dude, Jimenez came out immediately and went to pull guard, and Hulk did the Earth.
Yeah, he straight up Superman, and
he sprawled past the guard on the guard pole.
He sprawled through the guard pole
in the midair.
It was fucking nuts. Yeah. Like this match had it all. I mean, like there was a point where Jimenez was trying to jump guard again. Oh no, it was a standing back take, and Hulk fucking like WWE style, like pro wrestling slams him. It was fucking
awesome. There's a couple
awesome.
Slams by Hulk in this match.
There was one legit like, oh fuck, that looked like it hurt slam.
Because Jimenez went to kind of like take the back on a far side hook when he was like monkeyed on the side of Hulk, and Hulk kind of grabbed him to the side and just rotated down and landed sideways on him.
It was so dope.
Yeah.
This match was incredible. I'm super impressed with Jimenez, even though he lost by submission.
First black belt loss, which again you're fighting Hulk.
Hulk looked incredible too.
Yeah.
Like Hulk was great. It was a clash of styles here. We saw Hulk doing what he does best, which is pressuring, like dictating really the pace of the match and where he wanted it to go, but Jimenez still able to mount insane offense.
He has two pieces in this match where he throws up good offense. The first was an armbar from the guard, which he kind of walks up, which I didn't think was as close, but it was still close enough to require Hulk to like stack and defend and like get out of the armbar.
And also the setup was beautiful.
Yeah,
so
setup was slick.
Basically Jimenez gets the lapel under, like he gets Hulk's lapel back behind him and feeds it to the arm, and then uses that as leverage to begin pulling himself out, switching his hips and getting up real high and able to kick his leg over for the armbar. It was, I legitimately want to start incorporating that because it's
a super like strong control position.
It's
to keep the guy down and to pull up from.
And like I don't know if it's my flexibility or lack of athleticism overall, but I don't get a lot of arm bars just from the straight up closed guard. It's hard for me to hit that against someone my level, and part of it is I can't get my hips to cut the angle with someone who's on my level. But being able to feed the lapel behind and use that to pull yourself up into the angle, I think will help a lot.
Yeah, so kind of takes away a little bit of the athletic piece. And Jimenez is super athletic, so he can capitalize and get even further up there. Barbosa pulls out. And then the second piece of positional offense is he spent a lot of time in the guard, the closed guard after this, in Jimenez's closed guard. And at one point...
Well, actually, Jimenez actually spent a lot of time in bottom side control.
Well, he did that as well.
He's able to get, to re-guard at some points. And yeah, and at one point, Hulk goes from passing on the knees to passing from the feet, and he's leaned forward in kind of the classic way, and Jimenez grabs a collar grip and patiently waits and then throws on a loop choke.
He throws it up like twice.
Yeah. He throws up a loop choke at one point that is pretty serious, and
we watched this over because I was like, look kind of deep, but Hulk's passing off at Emil was no, look at his hand, look at Hulk's face. I was like, all right, Emil, it looks kind of deep. I will give you that. And then you see Hulk's face is kind of grimacing as he's getting out and as he's passing.
But, I mean, like, to Hulk's credit, like, he did not react to the choke. He continued to pass.
Yeah.
And it was because he got past Roberto's leg that Roberto had to release in order to make sure that he didn't give up the pass fully. So yeah, it was.
That's veteran. It's that's when you know Hulk is a veteran because he doesn't address the choke.
He's like
he continues to pass because he knows once he
knows he has a
through,
couple of seconds and he knows that he's close enough that he can trust his passing.
Oh, Hulk fighting a choke and then reversing it into a winning position. I've seen this before. Get at me, 2018 World Championship Finals match.
Quarters, yeah. Quarters,
dude. I always think that was the finals match.
Nah, it's quarters.
I always think that was the finals match.
It's quarters or semis. I can't remember.
I think it was semis.
Yeah, with Mateus and his.
Yeah,
it was semis. Yeah. So yeah, it was fucking incredible. Like Maine and I were talking about this, but the particular volume that Jimenez of submissions that Jimenez throws up, and also the particular submissions that he's choosing to throw up remind me a lot of Meregali.
Yeah, you made this comparison, and I went, oh yeah, and also their body styles are very similar.
Yep.
But both kind of lanky, longer guys that play with the lapels, throw those front loop chokes from the guard passing positions, the way they can throw up like quick arm bars, and the way they transition to take the back, like very, very similar body type and style of game and like level of submission offense.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting at the black belt level to see guys that like Meregali, like Jimenez, that throw up submission after submission after submission, and like are very, very relentless. And we've seen it, basically what we see right here. We see Meregali occasionally hit bumps in the road where that doesn't work, and he's not able to get done, and he loses matches. But he's extremely dangerous. I don't think he's a more dangerous guy in the gi than Meregali. So if Jimenez can emulate some of that, I mean, there's a reason
and tighten his game up a little bit.
7-1 now at black belt versus like top level guys.
He's not 7-1.
He beat a lot of guys at Kansas City.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. I forgot he has a whole tournament.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. I have high hopes for Jimenez. I think as he tightens his game up, I hope he continues to throw submissions with the same volume because
he's exciting.
It's so exciting.
We've been covering him on the show since brown belt. We typically don't cover a ton of brown belts. He was a brown belt that we were covering. We covered him at Third Coast. I was like, who is this dude just coming out, guns blazing, ready to go? It's Roberto Jimenez.
Right.
And he's really showed us that, the reason why he's headlining a card as a black belt 3 months after getting black belt versus Hulk, he's a special kind of dude.
So the way that this match ends, Hulk is in top side control, which he got to pretty easily multiple times throughout the...
Yeah, Hulk's passing looked really, really good in this match.
And Hulk is basically able to scoop up the far side armbar, and he rips one of the fastest Kimuras I've ever seen.
It reminds me of like DJ Jackson, where he just like, there's a video that the Fight to Win uses whenever Lovato is going to be on a card, like this next weekend actually, of Lovato just banging this Kimura out in like some open tournament, and it's just like behind the back by like 8 inches immediately, and Hulk does that. But the cool thing is, Jimenez immediately makes the spin in order to like fight the position, to fight the angle of the armbar, of the Kimura, and Hulk transitions over, steps the close side leg, the head side leg, over into Roberto's armpit. So he's almost like X'd over top of Roberto's chest.
Yeah, and Hulk just transitions from a nasty Kimura into a nasty armbar, and he gets the tap, and it is awesome. It is a phenomenal match. It's exactly what you want to see in a headline match.
And in Fight of the Night.
Yeah, it's got fireworks, it's got submission attempts, it's got slams.
It also has a little like slower sections where you see both guys like working technically, and it has everything I want to see in like a high level gi match, and it ends in a submission, which is less common in the gi. Really, really great match. Definitely one I'm going to watch for some match study and some tape study pieces from like how Jimenez sets up that armbar. And also I'm curious to see how Barbosa passes off that loop choke because it looked both deep and not as deep, but Hulk was able to do something there and able to kind of force the pass off of that it was able to give him that top position.
Yeah, great match. Go back and watch it for sure. So next up we have Michael Liera defeating Marcio Andre by decision, and Mr. Maine.
Oh snap! Wrong one. Becomes the Fight to Win welterweight champion. It's below all of the notes I have for it. I was like, when what? Like, oh snap! The title match.
So yeah, this was a methodical guard passing by Michael Liera. The match was methodical overall, and very careful guard work by Marcio Andre.
Single leg X guard. A lot of Marcio Andre trying to like not get swept. He does some really interesting things with the way he's posted up and how he balances out of the position. But the majority of the match is contested in there. It's a slower match.
Yep. So next up we have Jake Watson defeating Rudson Mateus by decision. This one had a lot of double-seated open guard.
The majority of the match was double-seated open guard, and then Watson at one point comes up, and they kind of both go to the feet. And then in the last 15 seconds, Watson is able to get the posture down.
Omaplata.
Yeah, omaplata. Doesn't look like he's looking to finish the omaplata.
Yeah, it looks more like a control position.
But that's really the only positional offense that gets thrown up, aside from some footlock attempt and a sweep attempt. Watson takes it with that omaplata attempt. Again, in the fight to win rule set, he's the dude that was throwing up the offense. That gets it done.
Yep.
So that's a big win for Jake Watson.
Yeah. He looked good. He looked really, really good.
Yeah, he looks nice and composed. I think we've seen Watson now, probably 3 or 4 times in the last couple fight to win cards. He's now on in the top of the main card fighting guys like Rudson Mateus. I'm really curious to see if he's going to fight for a title soon.
Yeah. I could see it happening. So next up we have Kevin Williams defeating Jeff Ygao by knee bar.
It's Ake.
We have Marcus Wilson defeating Noah Thomas by Darce choke.
And that was submission of the night for the black belts. And he gets this choke with 6 seconds left.
Yeah. This was nuts. So actually it was Noah Thomas, who's throwing guillotines for a lot of this match. And Marcus gets on top. And I love this setup. He basically does a beautiful hip switch, where his hips and his face are facing the ceiling in order to cut an angle to really shoot the arm through to set up the darce.
So it's funny. I had someone show this to me at Hopkins, I want to say Thursday, but they did it from standing. They were describing how Tony Ferguson sets up the darce. And I was like, oh, it's really interesting. Basically stand directly next to the person, and the term is if you can touch their drink, reach your hand over, and you're that close to someone on the side, you can darce them. This is that exact same setup, but on the side there. Super interesting, super deep setup, locks it in, and then squeezes. And I'm like, okay, it's a last second attempt at a submission. Emil and I don't weight those very heavily. And then you see Noah's hand kind of tap the mat.
Very gently.
I was like, I think that's a tap. And then nothing happens.
The commentators called it a tap.
And then you see
the
commentators
ref is waiting and watching. And then you see Noah Thomas go slack, and the ref jumps in, and you could hear the commentators also
going, he's out.
Yeah, and I agreed with the ref. That was a very subtle tap. I could see that,
it was a little slower, but dude gets the tap. Dude, how often do you see guys get put out in the last a submission at the end of regulation?
Oh yeah,
and get a sub.
Yeah,
and get a sub that finishes a guy and puts him to sleep. Super impressive. Again, deservedly submission of the night for just how close to the end it was, and it's a really nice setup as well.
Really great setup. Mm-hmm. So next up we have Jeremy Hastings defeating Alex Lee by armbar. Nikki Sullivan defeats Aaron Johnson by knee bar.
You had some interesting pieces on this as well. I think Nikki Sullivan sits in this knee bar for
over a minute, it feels like.
For a good portion of time. Nice leg fighting. She does some really interesting work where she is attacking the top side toe hold in order to free the leg, because the top side leg is blocking the bottom side leg that she has trapped in the knee bar, and she's disincentivizing and looking for the opening by attacking that top side toe hold and basically able to turn the toe hold over enough to open up the leg position. And Aaron, you were talking about it, she's not taking the back, and
well, she's attempting to. I think Nikki's doing something really subtle and really great to prevent the back take while she's attacking the knee bar. And I looked at this, and it might be that the angle is just not great for it. I couldn't see what she was doing. I'd be really curious to hopefully she talks about it, because I think she does an amazing job of attacking the knee bar for over a minute.
Yeah, and it's able to prevent the back take there in a position that historically we see a lot of back takes occur from, because Aaron actually gets the cross side arm on the back of the belt and pulls up, and then when she actually makes to go the switch to put the top side arm that you need to take the back on the top of the collar, the top of the horse collar grip, Nikki actually scoots back and scoots up into the top side, actually seated knee bar position, not north south knee bar, reverse mount knee bar, and gets the tap. And it's a really interesting transition. So cool match. A lot of like nice positional leg work in the gi, which is something a hallmark of what we see Sullivan do. So really fun match, really nifty knee bar.
So Lucas Nabuco de Arroyo defeats Blake Dvorak by split decision. YJ Lee defeats Brett Hernandez by bow and arrow choke.
And that was also submission of the night for the black belts.
Just really nice, YJ's already on the back, and Brett is able to kind of get his hips out and free himself from the hooks. YJ readjusts and then shoots his legs over to trap the arm.
What I thought was more impressive here was YJ is able to get belly down and keep shoulders to chest control with the grip on the lapel. And it's really impressive. He's able to actually suck all of that distance back and scoot Brett back onto his body. And then he traps the legs, like you said, and he's able to he gets the legs back involved. He traps the topside arm. It ends up in this bow and arrow choke with his feet on like the pecs, gets the squeeze, and gets it done.
Yeah.
Really nifty, really great control there to basically lose the hips completely, have your opponent switch their hips out, and then be able to get back and get the hooks in back again.
So we have Evan Barrett defeating Steele McCall by Ezekiel choke.
Dude, this one's actually cool because he starts it in mount, and Steele is actually able to get back into the guard, but Evan doesn't let it go, and he's able to tap him from inside the closed guard. He's able to get the guard for like a second, and then he's still able to get the tap. So it was really cool. On to the brown belt results.
We have Bruce Bugby defeating Thomas Stevenson by rear naked choke. Joey Mack defeats Christopher Diaz by split decision. Dan Dykman defeats Tyler Sperlin by knee bar.
This is a neo knee bar.
This is such a dope knee bar. So basically Dan is in top half, and he does a beautiful job of snaking his bottom leg through into the saddle, and then rotates to knee bar for an amazing finish.
I love this knee bar. You don't see this knee bar a ton because you've got to be so precise when you step through, and it's kind of sneaky because a lot of people don't anticipate you're going to go immediately for the knee bar because you've got to rotate the position to get there. Dan does a really good job of this. You can only do this particular knee bar when there's not a rule against attacking the leg on the inside. So it's really cool that a lot of Fight to Win allows that kind of knee bar to be done. Really nice knee bar. Really nice setup from Dan. It's a setup we don't see a lot, so it's cool to see it.
Absolutely. We have Trevor Palamas defeating Tyler Hampton by decision. Joshua Soseda defeats Eddie Maestas by choke. Eric Coe defeats James Mikas by cloverleaf.
That's submission of the night for the brown belt. So I love cloverleaf.
I was about to say, this is one of
It's one of my favorite moves because it hurts so bad, and guys like the lower belts aren't that familiar with how to set it up and what it is. And so you guys thinks he's defending his feet really well, and you can get it. Eric gets it here. I think Eric previously has had the title at brown belt for Fight to Win. I know he's a staple that we've seen since the early Fight to Win cards. I'm curious to see if he's actually kind of going to go to black belt soon, because I know he had the title, I think, 2 years ago at the brown belts.
So, next up, we have Troy, the Night Pigeon Everett, defeating Mike Costa by baseball bat choke.
This is Troy's first card back since taking over Normente Academy. That was a weird way to say that. Academy in Colorado. So it's great to be able to see and cover Troy again. Dude, this is a really, really quick baseball bat choke.
Yeah, well, Troy is just incredible because he starts this sequence from bottom side control. He has a nice bridge, scramble, back his guard, and then basically hits a beautiful butterfly sweep. And he immediately starts feeding the lapel under the arm of Mike for almost like a what do you call that?
Bread cutter?
Brain fart.
Samurai choke?
It's like
Barbara?
Yeah, exactly. The Bravo grip.
One of the lapel chokes that I don't do.
He starts feeding it through for a Bravo grip, and then he uses that to, he comes up and then grabs a baseball bat grip behind the head, and it seemed like the moment he sank his grips in,
he got on belly really, and there's
immediate tap. Troy gets the grips and Mike is tapping. It's nuts. It's insanely fast.
And Troy had the grappling rewind patch on his gi. On the pant leg.
Are you serious? I didn't see that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
no.
on one of the legs.
Hell yeah, Troy.
Right at the thigh there, he's got that grappling rewind patch. Shout out to Troy.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
We can take credit for that then.
I'm not taking credit for shit, Emil.
That's awesome. So, next up, we have Robert Parrish defeating Damar Ortiz by rear naked choke. Ricky Furioso Johnson defeats Casey Pratt by decision.
And that was Fight of the Night for the brown belts.
So, this was great. This match, I would say, is highlighted by long finishing sequences from both athletes. So it wasn't a scrambly match so much as like both guys at some point got into a really dominant position and set up a beautiful chain of attacks. And that's really great to see. You know, so, I mean, the flash submissions are nice, but it's also
fun
really
to
great.
watch on a hot Instagram highlight. But in reality, most people aren't going to hit flash subs like when they're competing. So these like not grindy, but these really nice walks up of position and like down a train of submission attempts is really nice to see. I'm glad that it gets Fight of the Night for the brown belts.
Yeah, so Ricky basically started off the match by saying like fuck passing, and he dives for a toe hold off the bat, and he goes through, you know, like there's a long sequence off of that that's really nice. And then on Casey's side, he hits an awesome far side armbar, and he goes for like a Russian style belly down finish. And he holds that for a long time. I love that too. I need to like practice that more because we see it a lot in MMA. And so I have a feeling that there's advantages that are for no-gi that we see a lot. But anyway, this was just really fantastic. So really good back and forth match. Next up, we have Matt Paul defeating Anthony Santiago by Darce. Christopher Gabrielson defeats Joe Fishburne by choke.
On to the purple belt results.
Aaron Holderman defeats Jameel Coleman by triangle armbar. Michael McCann defeats Nick Hall by decision.
And that was Friday night for the purple belts.
Dalton Grinstead defeats Michael Argyropoulos by armbar. Clay Weimer defeats Josh Taylor by rear naked choke. Ben Rutten defeats Dale Bonnell by decision. Walker Madden defeats Ben Ashard by heel hook. Taylor Weidman defeats Anna Mayordomo by Garcia by toe hold. Tyler Anderson defeats Josiah Thaman by heel hook. Drew Nickerson defeats Gordo Pinan by triangle. Brandon Ferguson defeats Daniel Gonzalez by triangle. Dan Becker defeats Chris Messina by Kimura.
That was submission of the night for the purple belts.
Ryan Dittman defeats Ryan Ribel by armbar. Christian Reyes defeats Nick Gamez Ramos by decision. James Borders defeats Derek Nye by decision. Brooke Mayo defeats Jaden Mueller by heel hook.
To become the purple belt
no-gi
lightweight champion. Whew, I had two lines there. And I was, dude, Jada comes out with a ramen like outfit, a shirt with Dan and some other people from Fight to Win, and they're throwing ramen into the crowd. And I was like, this is awesome. This is what I love about Fight to Win.
At blue belt, we have Stephanie Taylor defeating Jade Hernandez by heel hook. Riley Golden defeats Kurt Kosey by armbar. Alec Rivera defeats Joey Godinez by decision. Andrew Knott defeats Preston James by heel hook. Grant Gittinger defeats Dwight Kilpack by shoulder lock.
On to the team results.
Amanda Dozier defeats Aaron Bloom by armbar.
Dude, Colorado does not mess around when it comes to submitting people.
No, man. This is fucking great.
76.2%. So we used to do this on the show when Josh was here. We used to tabulate up all of the results and do a percentage of submissions. And that became a lot of work because we had to do math. And so I'm really happy to see it actually listed out. Like, dude, 76% means that more than 3/4 of the matches ended in sub.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's awesome. Great card. Really fun main event. Some other great matches on the card. Anything else, Emil?
That's it.
All right, that's it. So moving into the preview section, Fight to Win 138 in Dallas, Texas. This card, we have some of the names lined up for this card, but we're still getting names as this week kind of turns in.
It looks like it's headlined by Matheus Gabriel and Gianni Grippo and co-mained by Raphael Lovato Jr. versus Vinicius Trator Ferreira.
But as of 2 days ago, Vagner Rocha versus Michael Perez got added to this lineup as well. I think Oliver Taza. There's a couple matches from Third Coast that got shifted from over to the Fight to Win.
They have a little bit more information on here. Oliver Taza versus Servio Tulio and Ethan Crelinsten versus Gio Martinez.
Yeah, so the matches that Mo Jassam, ADCC event organizer, was part of for Third Coast Grappling, because Houston is having some corona issues, are moving over to the Dallas card for Fight to Win.
Yeah.
Basically what it looks like.
That's a great fucking lineup already.
Dude, that's a dope card. We're going to have a ton to talk about next week, and we have to preview Pans next week.
Yeah. Oh, also Ygao de Souza versus Jaime Canuto. So that's awesome. Outstanding. That's already 6 like top tier matches.
Just giant card.
Yeah.
So which one do you talk about? Like Vagner Rocha versus Michael Perez, I think is really interesting. We haven't seen Vagner since we saw him versus Rotolo, right? At Fight to Win.
Yep.
Much more slow match. Lots of play. See, Vagner playing Wagner's game. I'm very interested to see how he kind of takes on Michael Perez here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see. Usually, we get the explosive Vagner, and I'm fairly certain this match is going to deliver that. So
yeah, I mean, Mike Perez also been announced for the Absolute GP as part of Polaris as well. So this is a really interesting match. Both ADCC guys. Again, this is one of the matches that Mo kind of assisted with or had assisted with previously on Third Coast. I'm very curious about this matchup. Let's talk about the Lovato matchup on this one.
Yep. Lovato versus Trattor. That's going to be an outstanding match.
We just saw Lovato this last weekend versus Cyborg, and that's actually the first time, I think in the 4 times that they've met total, that Cyborg is ever able to take it. He took it in the overtime versus Lovato. This is a couple weeks after Lovato had to relinquish his Bellator title due to, I'm going to mess up the brain condition.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Big giant mass. Listen to the Rogan podcast. He talks about it at length.
It should be interesting because Cyborg was able to eke that win out in overtime and golden score. So basically, he was able to get takedown points. And
after like 7 overtimes or something.
The pathways to victory for Trattor seem like limited, whereas Lovato I feel like has
Dude, Lovato was running through everyone. Lovato had the title at one of the weight classes, I forget, and then Seth had to bring in Yuri to basically was the only guy able to take that title off of him, and Yuri took the title off of him. Now I assume that this is probably the number 1 or number 2 slot for that title.
Yeah. So I my personal call is Lovato.
Dude, he's looked so good. He's been, especially in the Fight to Win rule set.
Yeah.
Like we've seen him historically be unbeatable in Fight to Win. I don't know if he has a loss at Fight to Win.
I'm not sure, and I do know that like his guard was absurd. His guard, his stand-up is good. I'm really curious to see how Trattor kind of approaches this one, because Trattor's another guy that we've seen kind of gain more and more momentum after that ADCC run he made. Yep.
And then I think
we saw Trattor really bully people on the feet a lot.
Yeah. What did we see him on after ADCC? It was like right after ADCC. Was it on Fight? Who was it versus Duarte or was it?
Let me see. But yeah,
it's gonna kill me. We just saw him a little bit ago, and it was a big super fight card that he was. I think he was on the main card, and he was in one of the big feature matchups, and I forget who it was against.
Yeah, he had an amazing run at ADCC, and so we saw him have a really good run. He won Nogi Worlds.
That's what it was. Okay, it was Nogi Worlds. We saw him crush through that.
Yeah, he went through his division. He won his division. He lost in absolutes to Victor Hugo, who's been on a tear.
Okay, yep. I knew we covered him recently on something, and he looked really good in it.
His run in ADCC was defeating Paul Ardilla, Jackson Souza, Vinny Magalhaes, and then losing to Gordon Ryan. It's like, in the finals. So he had a tremendous run. He's doing really, really good. But I still have Lovato taking this one.
Yeah, I do too. Dude, Lovato's super hard to bet against.
Jaime Canuto, we saw over at Kasai. We got to watch her roll live. It was awesome.
No, different Canuto.
Oh, it's a different Canuto?
That's Raphael Canuto. No, that's Renato Canuto.
His wife competed on...
That's Raquel Canuto.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
The Jaime Canuto is the guy we saw versus Dante Leon in the
bad.
World Final. Dude, everyone named
my
Canuto.
Bad. Yeah, my bad.
Also, you were thinking in his head, like, previewing, like, yeah, this match. I'm like, nope, different Canuto.
Okay, so in that case, completely out. Who did you say we saw him against?
We saw him in the World Finals in the Nogi World Finals versus Dante Leon.
Oh,
it was the teammate. They're both GF team guys.
That's right.
And
Jamie's fucking amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a super dynamic match. Previous world champion, like, dude,
yeah, those GF
amazing.
team guys are fucking incredible. Like,
Ohio.
Yeah, who knew? But
Ohio.
Dude, Dante has been on a tear.
And we have GF team guys here in Maryland, too, and those guys are all monsters.
Yeah, and that was a closely contested match, too. That wasn't like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, Dante, fucking ran away with that one.
No.
And props to them also for going at it. Clearly, they're really game guys. So
yeah, I talked to Dante about that match at Third Coast, and he gave us a really cool interview talking about why they didn't close out, what their thoughts were, how they approached it. it was really cool.
Those guys are super game, so I'm excited to see that match.
Main event. I have no idea what the main event does on this one. Matheus Gabriel versus Gianni Grippo.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but Matheus Gabriel coming off of he's the reigning world champ.
Yep,
right?
in the gi.
In the gi, like, you know, that's kind of hard to argue with when you
I
have
assume
tops like
this
that.
is a gi matchup.
Yeah.
I know we've seen both guys in no gi.
We've seen Johnny competing a lot in the gi since ADCC.
Yeah, you pulled up his record and you said he's been entering absolutes recently.
He's basically done the Atlanta Open, the Miami Open, and the IBJJF Opens. And in both, he's entered the absolutes. So it looks like he's kind of full back into gi mode. So I imagine that this is a gi match. But, you know, Matheus Gabriel, you know, he's been competing in the gi at the top levels in the past year. He's been to Spider. You know, he went to the finals of Spider. He beat fucking Jonathan Alves as Spider, which is nuts because Jonathan's been at it.
Also, another guy been on a really, really good tear. Yeah. This is a super exciting match. I'm curious to see how this goes. Grippo has been a little
kind of hot and cold.
Hot and cold is the best way to put it. Recently, when he shows up, like, looks really good, but occasionally we seem to kind of have missteps, I think is the right way to put it. Like, guys just kind of figure out his game and sort of get around him and able to, like, push him into areas that he doesn't seem as willing or, like, doesn't want to have the fight there.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see if Matheus Gabriel is able to do that, or if we're going to see, like, the Grippo performances at Worlds in years past, where he just shows up and is a monster.
And by the way, you were right. This is going back to Trattor. We did see him at Fight to Win 136 versus Kainan.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, that was what fight? When was that?
136. So that was like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, that's why I was like, I feel like we just saw Trattor. Yeah. So this is going to be a really fun card. I'm looking forward to this one. Anything else, Emil?
That's it.
So on to our preview of Third Coast Grappling Championships 4. This event previously was that giant mega card, but because Houston's having a bunch of cases of coronavirus, I think there's a couple of, like, local universities in the Houston area that have closed and stopped classes. Like, Houston is sort of in quarantine a little bit, and so Third Coast Grappling pulled off all of their cards, all the fighters that were flying into the event, and now it's basically just a Houston showcase, or like a Texas area showcase
with still some incredible talent on here, because Houston has obviously a ton of really good jiu-jitsu, including the Tackett brothers. You want
to start with that one?
Yeah, let's.
So we have Andrew Tackett versus. I love that Third Coast Grappling does these matches, but they don't do it with, like, this main event, basically. But they don't do it with their main event matches. They try stuff different. This is Andrew Tackett versus 3 people, and if you tap Andrew Tackett, you get $1,500. First guy is Jerry Rodriguez. Second guy is Give me that name, Emil.
Yadier de Valle. And the last one is Curry Gout.
So basically, these guys get a chance to submit him. If you submit him, you get $1,500. And then after, if he submits you, he has a 30-second break, and the next grappler comes out.
Jesus.
So basically, it's like, how good is Andrew Tackett? Everyone is forecasting him to win, but if you're going to push a guy like this, it's a really interesting format to do it. Also on this card, Third Coast Grappling is doing a blue belt grappling royale, where they are having 10 blue belts, and they are doing basically the first 2 blue belts. They pick a number. First 2 blue belts come out. After 1 minute, the next blue belt comes out. Next minute, next blue belt comes out. I think it's score or submission. That person gets knocked out. Like what I've been told is a Royal Rumble in wrestling. Yeah. And so, but I love.
You've never seen a Royal Rumble?
I want to pretend like I have seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. It was pretty great.
Okay.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I was about to say.
It was really, really fun to watch.
I'm a filthy casual, and I've still seen a Royal Rumble.
Anyone that knows me
awesome.
knows I hate gimmick matches for, like, grappling. I am actually really excited for both of these because, again, Ryan McGuire, the matchmaker for Third Coast Grappling, is doing them not like with, like, Craig Jones and Meregali and, like, Gordon Ryan. He's doing them with, like, blue belts and purple belts and brown belts, like guys that I'm happy to see in these sort of matches to test these formats out. He's not bringing Gordon Ryan and Nick Rodriguez in for a tag team match, and I'm very happy to see that. So also on this card, we have William Tackett versus, give me the name here?
Stefan Banta.
This is a no time limit sub-only match. I talked to William a little bit at Kasai Pro in Dallas, perhaps Kasai Pro 7, that his brother and Cody Steele were on. He talked about his preparation for like no time limit matches, wanting to do more no time limit matches. I think this will be his first no time limit sub only match. I'm very curious to see how this goes. Again, Tackett's a guy that typically pushes a pretty heavy pace and has been on just a tear recently through all of the no-gi scene.
We saw William on Kasai as well on the undercard, and he looked phenomenal.
We saw Andrew. We didn't see William was sick on that one. Or he just got injured on that one.
Oh, I see.
So he was off that. Yeah, so it was just his brother and Cody.
Got it.
We got a chance to interview him still.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting. Again, we're seeing more guys wanting to do that no time limit sub only format. And I'm happy that there's a place for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a weird event, but it's going to be phenomenal. I like, I do like that the promotions are exploring with some of these unusual formats.
Yeah, but they're not making it a whole card of it. Like, Ron will have a match and like, try it out. And he does it to break up like the card. So you're not just watching super fight. If there's not a tournament or something like that, I like that they have, let's throw stuff in. Like the women and men's tag team match that I internally was not that hot on, and then was at the event and watched it. I was like, that was actually kind of fun to watch. Like, oh shit. So proves me wrong. So I'm happy. I am down for it. Also on this card is Sevion Marinon, who is now, I think, the current. He had the blue belt championship, the teen championship, and then immediately got promoted to purple belt. So I'm not sure if he still holds a belt for Third Coast, but he's going to fight Noah Wyatt. And so last time we saw Sevion basically put his opponent to sleep in a triangle extremely quickly. We've covered his matches before. We've commentated his matches before. He's a dude at Marcelo's that is definitely a dude to watch. Bunch of other really fun matches on the card. Another tag team match. Mackenzie Manterius and Baca versus
Timmy Cundiff and Tess Dula.
Yeah. So a lot of fun matches on this card. Anything else you want to talk about, Emil?
No, that's it.
All right. Should be a really fun card. So, because we missed it, actually, there's a couple more matches on Third Coast Grappling 4. We have Cody Steele versus Eduardo Avilar. And we're really hot on Cody Steele. He puts out really fun, exciting matches. Look for him to wrestle in this match. We also have Lucas Valentes versus Pedro Rocha.
Hell yeah.
I am very excited about. Again, they brought some of the Texas talent in to this one. Lucas Valentes has looked, astonishing recently, and we just saw Pedro Rocha on Kasai Pro in Dallas versus John Combs.
Yep.
And that was a really, really fun match. So again, Lucas's match last time at Third Coast was a ton of fun to watch. Got a deep heel hook, so I'm really curious to see how this one goes as well. There's also a bunch of other matches kind of in the works, and they're moving things around on this card. Looks like it'll still be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So now let's move to the next segment, basically the outro section of the show. Emil and I are wondering if Pans is going to happen.
Yeah,
What city is Pans in?
Usually, I thought it was in the San Diego area.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It's somewhere in SoCal. I know that. I have never been there, so I don't know exactly where it is.
So we also have, obviously a little over a week out. We have the athlete list. But let's see. It is in Irvine, California, which would be LA, I believe.
I think it's the LA area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, hopefully it happens. It's going to be tough because there's a lot of international travel to Pans. It's a major. It's an IBJJF major, so there's going to be a lot of people coming in.
People looking to get Grand Slam points, people looking to get regular points, people looking to win a major at all of the belts. I mean, it's one of the majors. It's one of probably 7 biggest tournaments in the world. I'm very curious to see how the divisions look. I'm very curious to see the athletes list.
Looking at the Rooster division, I see 2 people in there from the same gym with Japanese names. We have Koji Shibamoto and Nobuhiro Sawada.
Yeah.
So,
we're having international people from Asia fly in.
How many, whether or not people will be pulling out, which I'm sure, or if if they'll end up canceling. But hopefully not. What we have at Rooster is
we can preview it all like in the coming week.
Okay.
In the coming week.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I was curious. It's only more and more events are getting canceled, and I did not anticipate this a couple of weeks ago. I like that everyone's erring on the side of caution, but it is very interesting to have. I don't recall the last time that we've had major events like this in the United States canceled due to some sort of outbreak.
Dude, these divisions look incredible.
You look good.
They look good.
Can't wait to I think we'll probably grab Zach on for that because Zach likes doing the gi majors, so it'll probably be a 3 mic between
Dude,
you, me,
let me
and
just
Zach.
let me give you just a teaser at
Okay.
Feather. Okay, we have Isaac Doderlin,
Okay.
Kennedy Maciel,
Okay.
Gianni Grippo. We have
Is light feather or feather?
this is at Feather.
Okay.
Shane Jamil Hill Taylor.
Oh, he's back.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's been out for almost a year now.
Yep.
He had appendicitis at Worlds, and we have not seen him. I think we saw him on Spider.
Matheus
and that was
Gabriel.
the last time.
Yep.
Yo, Feather is stacked.
Dude, this is just fucking. This is absurd. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So obviously we'll have hopefully everything pans out for Pans. No pun intended.
That's definitely a pun.
And we'll have a nice preview for you next week.
That'd be awesome. So what do you got going on this week aside from being scared of coronavirus?
Trying to stay healthy, man.
Dude, I'm washing the shit out of my hands.
Yeah.
I'm a hand wash champion.
Yeah.
Every time I use the bathroom, now I'm just wash my hands, like I was before as well. But now, I'm doing the 20 seconds where it's like I learned wash every piece of my hand, wash the fingers, really washing my hands for real. Looking up, actually getting, I think, new thing, hand sanitizer. All the gyms around have hand sanitizer. All the graphics are out, hey, don't be dirty. Clean your body. Yeah, so it's an interesting time to be doing a very, very close international contact sport.
Yeah, it's more or less one of the...
I can't think of a worse
vector.
A worse activity
Yeah.
To do, and I literally just registered for a tournament at the beginning of April.
Man, it actually gives you appreciation for how little epidemics break out in the jiu-jitsu community, given how
Except for
close
pink
we
eye.
are. Yeah,
Pink eye at Pans, and then what else? A case about once every year and a half.
You'll hear ringworm, kind of
Ringworm. It's that's just don't be clean. Ringworm is a clean issue.
Don't be nasty.
Just clean. So now I gotta drop 10 pounds. I didn't think I was gonna have to drop because I didn't know I was this out of shape.
Are you telling me I shouldn't be bringing pepperoni pizzas and or Taco Bell over?
You for the next 4 weeks? No. After that,
I'm gonna bring the fucking juiciest burgers over and eat them. You're gonna have to fucking watch me,
dude. I'll just eat less the day and make sure my calorie count works out. You give me a 4,000 calorie burger. It's no, man, I can't do this. I gotta lose a bunch of weight. Yeah, I stepped on the scale and I gotta make 145 on the April 11th, and I was I'd be 151. I was 154 and a half in the morning after waking up. I went, oh, I've got to lose legit 9 pounds.
Yeah.
Legitimately in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's diet time.
Yeah.
So Rachel and I both about to lose a bunch of weight.
Well, there you go. I like that she's supporting you with that.
Yeah. Well, no, she just I make most of the food for the house, so it's
oh, she doesn't have a choice.
She eats.
You're here's some celery.
Well, what happened was the last time we did this hard was Pans. I think 2016 Pans. We decided to do a no-gi Pans in New York, and I was okay, what weight class can I make? And I was okay, this weight class, and I got to make 145 with IBJJF weigh-ins, and Rachel signed up at 35. And we get to weigh-ins, and I made weight by 6 pounds. I was oops, overcut for this one. And I weighed at 142, which I should not be that small. And then Rachel went to weigh in for Pans, and they couldn't find her on the list. And I'm what? And she goes, oh, you're looking in the wrong bracket. And she goes, I'm the bracket below that. Because she weighed in a full weight class below what she anticipated.
Jesus.
Because we had dieted and ate so well for 6 weeks ahead of Pans that we had both dropped almost a weight class extra.
Damn.
Because we just got in really good shape.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then we both got blown out in the first round.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope that doesn't happen as well. So eat good, stay healthy, stay coronavirus free. Any other closing thoughts, Emil?
That's it.
All right, as always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
and we have the Grappling Rewind. We'll see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.